got to unwrap an Alps power wrapper, right? So also want to make note that in this same video, we're going to announce the winner from the YouTube contest. So those of you who watched the snapper video, thank you very much. We had a great time out there fishing with Captain Kevin Gill, my good buddy Jason, and of course my son Hunter. If you haven't yet watched it, go over to the Get Fit Outdoors YouTube channel, watch it, give us a like, a thumbs up, a subscribe, and a comment in that video. It just helps us rank better. We're hoping to bring those videos to you regularly, all of our outdoor adventures, fishing, hunting, rod building, of course, and it just helps when we have more of that following. It helps the ranking, so more people see it, just makes it that much easier to bring more content to you. So with that being said, we've had a lot of requests from rod builders wanting to know how to set up their Alps power wrapper. Well, the one that we had on display, we had to sell because we keep selling through these things like hotcakes, but we have one back in stock here for the shop, and we have them in stock for you as well. So guys, this Alps power wrapper, I've been using mine for years. I have one at the house that I've just been using for, gosh, I don't even know how many years, how many builds I have on it, but they're awesome. They are the #1 selling power wrapper in the industry, on the market, for a reason. They're very easy to use, they're very affordable, and they just make rod building that much more fun. So with that being said, let's open this up and just show you everything through and through. I could have opened this box ahead of time, but I wanted to make sure you guys realize that I'm doing this entirely with you. Have not, pre-opened it, started anything. It's literally as easy as I'm going to show you here today, if I can do so without cutting my finger off. So in this box, we'll have everything we need to set up this wrapper. This has the Alps upgraded chuck on it, packed nice and well. Sometimes, due to the nature of shipping, as with anything else, stuff gets damaged, right? So always inspect whatever comes in any box, but especially a power wrapper, because sometimes they get dinged or the motor can get pushed up against the box and get squeezed and pressured. But that's the beast right there. And then within that, we also have a second base. So this second base screws on there quick and easy. I'll get this box out of the way so you can see what I do to set this up. Make sure there's nothing else in here. Nope, we're good, we're done with that. Get that disappear. Put our extra base right there. So with both bases, you'll end up at 8 feet. Now you'll lose about 6 inches of base because of the headstock and the controls being on the same base. So that's going to take up a little bit of room. Ultimately, you can put like a 7'6" rod in there and still have it completely over top of the bed. Now that being said, you can definitely build a longer rod than that with it overhanging. You can get an extra support if you want to. You can make your own support. You can get an extra extension, and that works as well. Personally, I've built I don't know how many hundreds of rods on my wrapper without an extension. Now, I don't build a lot of really long rods. If I did, I would definitely get an extension. They're cheap, they're like 30-something bucks. And the best way to get them is when you buy your wrapper. If you know you build a lot of 8-foot plus rods, or even some enough to where you want to have that extra support, buy it when you get your wrapper, because it's going to come out much cheaper for you because we can ship it in the same box. Shipping these oversized packages is expensive for us. Good thing for you is we actually cover the shipping when you buy it. So it does come with some directions here. Hopefully I don't need those because I've done this a handful of times. Here's our slats and screws. This is what we'll use to attach the two bases. Here's our extra O-ring. We'll use that in a second. I know I'm talking faster, but I want to try to make this as short as I can. This is our thread carriage. This thread carriage slides right on the base, guys. You'll see here these 3 wheels have a groove in them, and that groove matches the slot in this base. Okay, it's very easy, straightforward. When you get it, it can only go one way. So it literally slides right in there like that. Okay, and then it slides back and forth. So as you're wrapping, you can kind of guide this as you wrap a piece of cake. Slide this over a little bit. And if you have questions about it, you can comment. Felix can kind of read them to me as we go here. And if I don't get to them all during the setup, we'll try to answer them all at the end. So let's go ahead and open this slat and screw. Little baggie here. It also comes with an Allen wrench. This Allen wrench is for your chuck if you need to make an adjustment. You do not need it for your slats and screws. So let's get rid of that box. Let's get rid of some of this garbage. You can do this one of two ways. All you're doing here is joining these together. I know some people, they don't even put them together. They literally just keep them there because they know that they're not going to keep their workstation up for a while. They don't want to have an 8-foot piece together. They'll literally wrap a rod with it just sitting there. And that's fine. If you know you're going to take it apart, disassemble it quick and easy, you can. You can also, instead of using just regular screw and nut, you can get some wing nuts. If you know you're taking this apart often, that way it's even quicker to unscrew the bolts and take it apart. Guys, make rod building easy for you to enjoy it, right? Make it to where it's convenient to set it up, convenient to take it down. That way you don't have any inhibitions or barriers when it comes to, you know, knocking a rod out. It should be quick and easy and fun. So let's put this base together. It's as easy as lining up. You can probably see it from there, right? So I have the slat sliding through there. I'm literally just taking this. There's 2 holes on this side, 2 holes on this side, 4 holes on this whole slat. Okay? I'm just putting the screws in here. They'll go through the hole one way. You can go either way. You can put it through from either side, right? So it's literally just putting these little screws through and put a nut on the back side. I don't think we need to show all that because it's just repetitive, right? Put the slats on the inside. In my opinion, it's a little bit cleaner. You can do the same thing if you wanted to. If you prefer to put it on the outside, it's going to do the same thing either way. There's no right or wrong. It looks cleaner if you put it on the inside. Just like right now, you don't see that because it's on the inside, right? Okay, so literally, that's it. Put those slats and screws in there. Done deal. For the sake of time to keep things moving along, we'll go ahead and move on to the next part of the wrapper. It comes with 3 rod supports. You'll notice typically it comes with 2 springs and 1 slide. The difference there I'll show you here. You can kind of set these up however you want, whatever distance you like from the chuck. Typically I have my first slide about just above the first guide, so about 30 inches or so from the rear seat. And the second one just past the midsection, and then the third one usually towards the end, right? Because the end of the rod is in your tip of your rod, which is typically more flexible, and that's where I like a lot of support. This will end up down here as well. You can also adjust them as your rod is in the wrapper. We can go ahead and put a rod in here in a second. And if you want to have more supports, that's not a problem. We sell them individually. I think they're $27, $28. And you can choose if you want to slide, which is what this is. It just slides up and down with a wing nut. When you adjust that wing nut, you can tighten it and it's going to hold in place. The spring is different in that it's self-tensioning. So that spring here that is always pulling down on this arm to keep tension on your blank. Some people like that because it involves no adjustment, no manual adjustment at all. You put your blank in here and just hold it down. Some people don't like it because if you pull on your blank or bump it or whatever, you could pull it out. The slide is a little more secure, but it involves that manually loosening, tightening. It's a piece of cake on either one. Honestly, I've never changed mine on my wrapper at the house or the wrapper that I use here at the shop, but I do know a lot of people will change out all of them to one or the other, or they'll just mix and match however they prefer. So it's just personal preference there. They all work well. So let's get to the most important part of the chuck, or of the wrapper, and that is the chuck. Boom. Right there, piece of cake. So we have our foot pedal. This is what we'll use to adjust the speed when we're wrapping. You can also use this when you're applying your epoxy. Roger Cedars and Flexcoat did a video a while back that showed applying epoxy, and we will do it as well live here in the shop. Shows applying epoxy under power, as opposed to just putting on a drying motor where your rod is slowly rotating and you apply epoxy as you can. If you do it under power, you can make that rod go a lot faster and get your epoxy done a lot quicker. In my opinion, thinner and do a better job. Get that rod off of your lathe and put the next rod on the lathe. Just goes a lot quicker. But I realize a lot of people aren't in the production business when it comes to rods. But either way, I think it's more enjoyable to get it done a little bit quicker by using power. Sorry, I got an itch on my nose. Go ahead and take this wrapper, take this little wrapper off of the wrapping motor. Quick and easy, pull that through there. All right. So we'll get a close-up shot to show you. Let me take this. This will be better. Give you guys that view right there, so you can really see what I'm talking about here. You have your dryer. Okay. What that's going to do is just rotate your rod or blank at a slow, constant rotation. Let's see if I can reach this plug here. Okay. Let's see if I'm going to have power to that plug. That's not good. Maybe you have power up here. There we go. Was it turning before?
Yeah. No, before, no.
Before, no? Okay, so that outlet down below has got to be fixed. Alright, so it's part of this on this angle here. So you literally change this belt from one drive to the other. It's hard to do from that angle. Alright, so with your belt free like that, like it should be, right? You can literally choose from any of these drives, and that's going to make your rod spin or your blank spin at a different speed, okay? And you can play with that and see which speed you like, but ultimately whichever drive you have it on underneath when you're drying is the same drive you want to have it on the top. You want that belt to be in line, straight from one pulley drive to the next, okay? You don't want this belt at an angle. You want it straight up and down. Do you see that? So that's, let's see. What did I do? There we go, I had it on the wrong one. Okay. So now you see it's pulling straight. That's the middle speed, okay? If I want to go faster, I would go to the bigger pulley that goes to the smaller pulley. If I want to go slower, I can go to the smaller pulley to the big pulley. That's personal preference, very easy to do. Now if you wanted to adjust this to the wrapping motor, literally just push that belt to where it's free and then put it over on the pulley that's on the white motor. And sometimes these pulleys get in the way. Looks like that one might have been bent a little bit, but we'll walk it over there. Hard to do from this angle. Another comment worth noting here real quick. The reason why we're having trouble with that is this plate is really close. So that might have got bumped in shipping. I don't know if I have a screwdriver in here or not, but this is good. I'm glad we're doing this. If you loosen these, let me get a screwdriver. If I get a screwdriver really fast, I'll show you how to adjust that plate. It's good. It's a good and bad of being alive. One sec. We're back. Just like that. So glad this happened. This way if it happens to you, you know what to do. Okay, you'll notice these screws right here. They're simple little Phillips screws. There's a groove in the control plate. I can get that one to loosen up. That one's not going to want to loosen, but without a bigger screwdriver. We'll see, maybe I won't need it. The screwdriver's a little too small. And all we're doing is loosening it enough to back it up a little bit. And that one screw right there is going to make it tough. That joker does not want to loosen up. We need a different screwdriver. Sorry guys. Nine times out of 10, you don't have to adjust this plate, but if you do, there we go. This is why. So when you move this plate back and forth, see how you have these slots in the plate? These slots allow you to move the drive away or to your pulleys up top. And that's important because you have to have enough clearance here to get your belt under the motor. And then you also have, you want the ability to make sure that it's in line, okay? So let's see if that helps get the belt where it's supposed to go. Okay, there we go. So.
David Dwight Walls asks, can you spin or make cork handles with this?
Yes, you can, absolutely. So it really is a true lathe. You can turn foam with it, you can turn cork with it. Now those of you who are doing a lot of that, it makes sense to have your own mini lathe. But if you're only doing it on occasion, like most builders, not doing production cork or foam, you can absolutely do it on here, no problem. So just like that, we've got it turned over to our wrapping motor. With that done, you have one drive on the wrapping motor. And that wrapping motor needs to be right in line, that wrapping motor drive needs to be in line with the biggest pulley on the headstock, okay? So it'll be all the way back. And once that's straight, you're good to go. Turn your switch over there to the drawing motor. I'm not to the drawing motor, sorry. Turn the switch to the wrapping motor. And give it a little bit of gas. Turn your rheostat up. And we should have power. Do we not have power? Drawing motor is good. Wrapping motor is not. We might have a damaged unit here, and that's why we're having an issue with it with the lining.
The foot pedal's over here.
Oh, that's what it is. You know what it is? I'm used to wrapping from this table. Man, I'm getting scared. So we're good. I'm used to wrapping. I have a 8-foot foot pedal beneath the table, and I'm so used to when I'm wrapping on here, I just use that foot pedal. So anyway, we're good. Thanks, Felix. I was feeling like nervous. What is going on? But you'll see here. Okay, so if I have this foot pedal obviously down beneath the table under my foot, I'd be stepping on it, and it drives this. So with that, you have variable speed from your foot, and then you also have a rheostat here. What that rheostat does is adjusts the sensitivity of your foot pedal, okay? So turning it down, it's gonna go a little bit slower, be less jumpy. The more you turn it up, the faster it's gonna go, and it's gonna be more touchy. So I find that, usually about 2/3 the way up, almost 3/4 is where I like to wrap, but everyone's different. And getting started, guys, make it easy for yourself to go slow, and then as you get more familiar with it, you can crank it up, and fly on that thing. You can do your under wrap super quick. You can do all kinds of stuff, turn, cork foam, everything right there, okay? And that name right there is what you want to see on your power wrapper. That Alps label just exudes quality. I mean, there's a company out there that has tried to knock this off, and they make one that looks similar with a black headstock. I assure you it is not the same. We get complaints, we get calls from people saying, hey, I have one that looks like it. No, this is the deal. This is the real Alps headstock. Save yourself a headache, get a good wrapper.
Robert Gold asks, any tips for aligning the pulleys? Mine have never lined up.
So what I just did, Robert, I don't know if you saw me, but if you take a screwdriver and loosen up this control plate, so I call it control plate, I don't know what it is, I call it that because it has the controls on it. But there are slots on this plate, and if you loosen those screws, you can slide that plate forward and backwards, and it should line up with your, should allow your drives to line up. If not, maybe your Alps headstock is in the wrong location, but I've never heard of anybody not being able to adjust this to get it in alignment. That's about it. If you have, the need to, so real quick, here's how you open and close the jaws. You'll see on this headstock, you've got these two, I don't know what you call them, but they slip back and forth. You tighten the one and it just tightens the jaws. You hold one and it opens the jaws. It does come with an extra set of, we call them chuck feet, but ultimately if you wear out the foot that comes on there, the 3 feet, it comes with a spare set, or for some reason you like a different setup, this has a smaller contact point than the ones that come on it do. They're more open and broad. This one's a little more pointed and narrow, depending upon whether you like to, wrap on just a blank. This would be good using the small one. If you like wrapping on a finished rod, go with the bigger one. Makes sense. It's really easy, guys. This jaws stay nice and tight. If for some reason yours are loose and you wanted to make them to where they stay tighter, this Allen wrench right here, there's a Allen screw, a set screw in the back of this backmost, I guess you call it a nut. I mean, as you spin them, they loosen and tighten. You just tighten this Allen wrench, and it makes your adjustments that much more firm. So it just makes it a little bit more snug here. If you see, it takes more effort now for me to move this. If that's too loose, you could have it loosen up on you while you're wrapping. But too tight, and it just kind of makes it a little more inconvenient. It takes more effort to adjust it. So somewhere right in the middle, just easy enough to where it's not an effort, is perfect for me. You do not have to get this tight and then tighten that Allen wrench to hold your rod in place. That's not what it's there for. It's just meant for a set screw to set your how loose or how tight you want it to be to open and close. It's not your locking mechanism to keep it closed. It will stay closed. You just tighten it on the rod itself. Really a piece of cake there. So with that, any other questions on the power wrapper? It's really straightforward. As far as putting a thread on there, let me grab a spool real quick. Here's a spool of thread. We get this question a lot too. How do I put thread on my thread carriage? Very easy. Put your spool on one of the posts. Doesn't matter which one. And some people ask, what is this for? This white bushing. This is simply a bushing. If you have a big 4-ounce spool of thread that has a big opening, you would need this bushing to make that stay on there, but most people don't use that at all. You can put this on any one of these posts, okay? Take your thread, pull it through that ceramic line guide right there, that little pink curly Q, looks like a question mark. You pull back, I'm doing this backwards here, so it's kind of hard for me to do it. You pull back this spring-loaded little arm. So if you run your thread through the disc, come around. It's pretty easy, guys. I don't know if you saw that or not. But all I did was run my thread around the disc and come around over this wire loop and put my thread in there. And I'll pull it snug so that it's in between those two washers pretty well. If you loosen or tighten this adjustment on top of the washers, that determines how loose. I mean, if I loosen it, super easy, right, to pull my thread out. If I tighten it, it gets harder and harder and harder as you go. You want it right in the middle. It shouldn't take much effort to pull your thread out. If you're putting it on too tight, you'll be breaking thread, or your wraps get too tight and you can't adjust your guides to align them. You don't want that. Guys, your thread isn't the only thing that's holding your guide in place. And every little wrap just makes it that much stronger and stronger. You have a lot of wraps on there. You don't need to put a lot of tension, okay? Your thread holds your guide, and then your epoxy holds your thread. So you've got two layers there. Don't worry about killing it to where you gotta make that super tight, because it just makes a headache. So loop around through that. We might do a separate video just zoomed in on how to do that. And then come back through your line guide, and that's it. And you just wrap. Obviously you'll be on the side that you're on right there. And as you wrap your guides, it's just super smooth going up and down the track. Wrap a guide, tie it off, move down, wrap a guide, tie it off. When you do, we'll do a separate video on how to wrap a guide with a power wrapper. Give yourself plenty of thread, pull off extra before you cut it, and that way it doesn't snake back through and you gotta rethread it into your line, or your thread tensioner. Real quick and easy. And if you get to where you have too much out, it's a piece of cake. Just take your spool, spin it, tighten it up. You can run multiple threads on here at the same time. Makes it easier for doing inlays. It's really a simple system. But it's as easy as that. It's literally putting the slat and screws in, sliding down your rod supports, checking the alignment. This is the number one thing that you need to just pay attention to and make sure you're good with. Check the alignment of your pulleys. Simple adjustment there by loosening these three Phillips screws. Check your drawing motor, then check your power wrapper. There's really nothing else to it. You'll see when you look at this thing, it's true. It just stays in that headstock. It's awesome. Piece of cake. Chuck your rod in there, chuck your blankie in there, and you're off to the races. So, any more questions? All right, guys. Super easy right there. The power wrapper is where it's at. If you can go with it, go with the Alps. If not, you want to save a few bucks, go with the Forecast. You can always upgrade the Forecast to the Alps wrapper just by changing the headstock later on. It's literally a matter of changing, I think it's 4 bolts, and you end up with a swap out, and everything else is the exact same between the Forecast and the Alps power wrapper. The only difference is the chuck and the number of drawing speeds that you have. You have 3 here on the Alps. You're only going to have 1 on the Forecast. Not a big deal, but it is a plus for with the Alps wrapper. The biggest thing is this headstock being super true, right? When you're turning, when you're wrapping, anything you're doing, it's just solid. And it's not going to loosen up on you. The worst thing you can do, and I'll end this right here as far as the wrapper goes, is wrap a rod, put your epoxy on it in the middle of the night or before you go to bed, and then wake up the next morning and find out that your chuck opened up on you and your rod is in disarray, and now your epoxy drips everywhere and your rod's cured with this mess all over it. That will not happen with the Alps power wrapper. You just make sure your jaws are tightened and you can set it and forget it.
Jason Lindsay asks, how much does a wrapper cost?
So these are right around $390, I believe, $395. So they're right in there. That includes free shipping. So I think it's $395 with free shipping. Can't beat it. The Forecast is about $100 less.
Then it says, my son just turned his first cork grip on my Alps. Very easy.
Awesome. There you go. Thumbs up. Tell your kid congrats. That's awesome. Good for him. And kudos to you too for getting them wrapping young. That's awesome. All right, guys. With that, we'll probably do some more close-ups of the Alps wrapper, and we'll do some little how-to specific videos, like maybe how to turn cork, how to turn different things, how to use it. But that's basically the basic way to set it up. It's as easy as that. Don't be hesitant. Just jump in. You can't hurt it. Start wrapping stuff. Back off that rheostat. Turn it up. Play with it. And just enjoy it. Have fun. So with that being done, we'll go to the contest winner for the snapper video. And I honestly forget his name. Do you remember, Felix?
I believe it was Gustin, last name Gustin. Rick Gustin.
Rick Gustin. That's who it was. Between the two of us, we might have it right. I don't know. But so Rick Gustin, thank you so much. We put names in the hat. We picked a winner. For those of you who did, like, share, subscribe, and comment on the snapper video on our YouTube channel. Appreciate you, Rick. You just won a $50 gift card to Get Bit. So whatever you need, $50, it's on the house. Thank you very much. We'll send you a notification, an email, and when you log into your account, you'll be able to see that you have a credit. It's easy as that. So for those of you who haven't seen it yet, please go to our YouTube channel, watch the snapper video, give it a like, share, and a subscribe. We appreciate you. It just goes a long way. We're going to put more videos for rod building on here as well. This is being shot from our GoPro right now, and we're going to also edit that and film it, or edit that film and put it up on the YouTube channel as well. So a lot of how-to stuff going to be going up there, a lot of on the water stuff, in the woods, all kinds of goodness. Go to that YouTube channel, give it a subscribe and a thumbs up. It goes a long way. We appreciate you big time. Any other comments coming in, Felix?
No, sir.
No. All right, guys, with that being said, we'll end it there. We'll see you live again tomorrow. As always, any questions, comments, give us a call, shoot us an email. We're happy to help any way we can. We definitely appreciate you. Have a great day, and God bless.